Hey everybody! So now that you have read two memoirs over the past 2 days, I wanted to add more to this list because there probably are some things that you were noticing in the memoirs that you read that are more than just what we see here. So, yes, they're written in first person, they're based on real life events, they focus on the relationship between the writer and a particular time, place, person, animal, or object. We saw that they revealed feelings and they illustrated something that the reader, or the author learned through this experience. But I think that there really might be more that you were noticing about these, in particular when it comes to the way that they're structured. Because you might have noticed that both Quietly Struggling and 11 are structured slightly differently, and that's okay. That's why memoir is so special, because really memoirs can be structured in different ways, and that's okay. So the next characteristic that I'm going to add here is that you might have noticed in the memoirs that you read that the writer had an idea that they really wanted to share. And perhaps they kind of mentioned that idea first, and then they went on to try to explain it to the reader. Kind of like in Quietly Struggling, the first thing that Kelly Bonehone says is that she struggled with putting herself out there in the world. And then she goes on to give some examples of that throughout her life. So that's something that you might have noticed. Another characteristic that you may have noticed is that the writer might use a personal narrative to show how this idea is true. So you may have noticed that they're using writing that is about themselves and is more in a narrative form to show how this idea is true. Okay. Another one here, so this is going more along with structure, is that you may have noticed that some of the memoirs, or one of the memoirs, resembles a story, more like a story with patches of ideas based around that larger story. So I kind of think of that as like 11. So 11 is really based on one experience, one small moment in Sandra Cisneros' life. And there's a lot of ideas, I think, that she learns about herself through that one small moment. And that's why I think she wrote about it. But it's written more like a story. On the other hand, though, and that kind of leads us to our next point here, is that some memoirs resemble more of an essay with a lot of ideas and a few small stories to kind of support those ideas. So I kind of think about that like Quietly Struggling. It's more of an essay. It seems like the author's trying to kind of prove something, a claim that she's making about herself, with some different examples. Kind of like here, like in the picture, it's almost like she has her claim and then she kind of supports that with some different examples. So either of these, I think, would be okay when it comes time to actually writing your memoir. But these are definitely some of the major characteristics of what make up a memoir. And so obviously we're going to continue on in this unit studying memoir, and you're going to be also, really the big takeaway from this unit is you're going to be writing a memoir of your own. So you want to just keep these different characteristics in mind.